In this second episode, for the most underrated player in the draft this year, we have one of my favorite players from the QMGHL, Samuel Poulin. The QMGHL is the league I follow the most this year, and I would say if we take Nathan Légaré, Rafael Lavoie, and Jacob Pelletier, I probably saw them play individually more than 50 times this year, but Samuel Poulin is really the one that I saw the most. I didn't skip any game, so I watched all the game he played this year. So after watching way too much hockey, I came to the conclusion, and it was pretty clear to me, that Samuel Poulin is the best player from the QMGHL this year. As always, we are going to take a look at his statistics, and in case you're wondering, he is actually the son of former NHLer Patrick Poulin. I'm old enough to have seen him play back in the day with the Abs, so you can see here, this is the stats of his father. Okay, let's go back here and look at Samuel Poulin's stats this year. So he finished the year with 76 points, 29 goals, and he had really good postseason here with 8 goals in 10 games for 14 points. If we take a look here at the overall team he was playing this year, you can clearly see that he was leading the team in point with quite a big margin. And the other thing that's noticeable is the team overall was lacking a lot of firepower. So usually in the QMGHL, most of the team will have at least 3 or 4 players over 60 points. And this year, with Sherbrooke, it was not the case. At the beginning of the year, Poulin was playing mostly with Edouard Saint-Laurent, and as you can see, it didn't work too well, and eventually they decided to pull the plug and just trade Edouard Saint-Laurent to Quebec. If you want to compare fairly Samuel Poulin with all of the players from the QMGHL, let's start here with Nathan Légaré. So like I was saying, you can clearly see here that Légaré was playing with two extremely good players. Chekovic was one of the better players offensively, and Fortier is super well-rounded, excellent two-way player. So here you can clearly see Légaré had an advantage playing with better line mates. Same goes for Jacob Pelletier, who played most of the year with Alexander Kavanov and Mika Sir, and also on the power play with Jeremy McKenna. And you probably get my point now. Let's take a look to finish this off with Rafael Lavoie. So Lavoie had also good line mates, and Halifax had two great top two line. So yeah, it's pretty clear that all of the players from the QMGHL had better line mates than Samuel Poulin. And what does that mean? It pretty much means that Poulin was the key player the other team had to watch. Every time Poulin was on the ice, he was playing against the best player from the other team, and we saw that in the playoff against Drummondville. I mean, every shift it was against either Comtois or Pierre-Olivier Joseph or Nicolas Baudin. One last thing I want to check before we start watching some footage. So I pull out all the stats at 5-on-5 this year in the QMGHL for draft eligible player. So you can see Samuel Poulin finished third in point, slightly ahead of Rafael Lavoie. The number one thing I want to focus here on is the primary assist. So this is the column here. I'm going to sort this. So bang. You see Samuel Poulin is leading here with a big margin, and it's always encouraging to see stuff like that. I just want to shout out also Jordan Spence, who I think is going a little bit under the radar. When I was watching clips from Jacob Pelletier, I was really impressed with Jordan Spence on the power play. So you can see he finished actually second behind Samuel Poulin in primary assists. And one thing here with Jordan Spence is he was really unlucky this year. He scored on only 2% of his shot, so that might be a case of bad luck. He could have even better stat this year. So okay, enough of Jordan Spence. Okay, let's go back to Samuel Poulin. So one other thing I want to look at here is secondary assists. So you can see Samuel Poulin had the lowest amount of secondary assists here in comparison with all of the other guy. And this, I think, is a product of playing with a weaker line mate. So when you play with an all-star player and really the elite player in the QMJHL, you're gonna have some easy secondary assists just by touching the puck, or I don't know, not doing too much and having good secondary assists. So I can only imagine if Poulin was playing with better line mate. I think here he would have finished the year with a lot more points for sure. The last thing I want to look at is his ratio here. So almost all of his points are primary point. It's pretty crazy. So out of 53 points, 46 of them are primary point. So if you compare quickly with all the other players, he really had to do it all and put the team on his shoulder this year. We might as well look at the shot total while we're at it, because it's usually something that translates pretty well at the next level. So you can see he finished second right behind Nathan Legaré with one less game. So if you add all the stats here, it's looking pretty good for him. It's now time to look at some footage if you're still alive after all those stats. The first thing we're gonna look at is his shot. Since we already established that he's shooting a lot, we want to know if he has a good shot. So we're gonna look at a few clips here.
Devinez quoi? Il y va d'une autre mise en échec. Attention à la sortie du Phoenix, on est à 3. C'est Poulin. Un tir de but!
It looked like a good wrist shot to me. It's a good mix of both accuracy and power, and he's able to beat goalie one-on-one pretty easily.
Lavoie with it on the right side for Poulin. A shot, he scores. Samuel Poulin.
He scored a few goals this year in the same spot simply by having a pretty quick release. Finally, he has a pretty accurate backhand in close. So all in all, I think he has a above average shot.
Remise à Poulin. Du rebond de but! Samuel Poulin, quel but!
Now let's look at skating. This is where Samuel Poulin is gonna need to work the most because his first few steps are not the best and he could also have a better top speed. But from what I've seen all year long, I thought he improved a little bit his skating, and at the end in the playoff, he was pretty good. To compensate for his lack of speed, kind of like Capo Caco, Samuel Poulin is extremely strong on his feet and he wins a lot of puck battle, and it's really hard to knock him off the puck. He also has a great motor and high intensity, so it makes up for his lack of speed, and I don't think speed's gonna be a problem for him at the next level. Here, just another example, so you can see he's not blazing fast, but he's still fast enough to make Nicolas Baudin looks pretty bad here. The thing that I love about Poulin is that he's a worker. So he's never gonna take a shift off, he's never gonna take a night off, and even if he's playing 23, 24 minutes like in the playoff, it was crazy, he was playing in a PK, power play, 5-on-5, he was always on the ice. Even then, he was still giving his max effort, and I just love to see that. He was trying to block shot, doing all the little things that help you win a game at the end. One aspect of his game that I don't think enough people are speaking about is his defensive ability. I think he's a really great defensive player. If you add it together, the fact that he's doing all the little detail, he's playing with intensity, he's blocking shot, and especially winning a ton of board battle. With all that, I think he's one of the best players defensively in the draft, with other players like Alex Turcotte, Peyton Krebs, and maybe Dylan Cousin. With his game being so well-rounded and mature, I think he would have an easy time to translate and play center. I know he played on the wing most of the year, but we saw a little sneak peek of him playing center at the under 18, and I really think in the first round he's one of the wingers that has the most chance to play center at the next level. For his playmaking ability, we know that he was leading the league in primary assists, so let's take a look at a few of them.
Des sports en temps réel sur la fréquence FM. Le but! Pour Tardif, près de la ligne bleue. Rejette le disque dans le coin pour Poulin. Poulin contourne le but, remet devant le tir, le but! Dirigé par Robert. On a le maintenu en territoire offensif. Remise devant, le but! Oh, Robert qui a réussi.
It's the halfway mark here in the second period. Puck stolen, Poulin in front, backdoor feed, and they score.
Voici Poulin, 2 contre 1, de l'autre côté, le tir, le but!
Derrière. Oh, la belle passe devant le but!
Et Peach de l'autre côté qui subit toute une mise en échec et le but pendant ce temps. Poulin qui prend de la vitesse, passe devant le banc de l'Armada, freine au cercle droit, passe de l'autre côté et le but de Bellamy.
Qui est devant le filet pour Ocoulian, ça rate le tir et c'est le but.
Those are some pretty elite passes, and I'm not gonna lie, I think I would have been able to score on a few of them. A lot of gimme here. The last thing we will look at is his stick handling and his hands. So you'll notice Poulin is not really the most flashy player. He will sometimes do the high percentage play, so it's not necessarily bad. He has okay hand, but nothing crazy. But he is using this move pretty effectively, and he scored an absolute beauty on this one.
Poulin, une pièce de jeu individuelle, un café. 2 laits de sucre à Pierre-Olivier Joseph là-dessus.
Poulin is currently ranked around 30, so late first round, early second round on Moore's board, and I wouldn't mind taking him much higher than that, so I think he's criminally underrated. If I'm the Abs at 15, I would be happy with him. I wouldn't mind also if we could try to drop down if we're confident he will still be available and pick him later in the draft. Mais on peut absolument pas laisser passer un Québécois de même, sti.